welcome to the Living Proof Recovery Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Evan, and this is Brian. Tonight we have our friends Rebecca and Tony with us. So we'll go ahead and get right into it, and we will let you guys introduce yourselves.
So I'm going to start off with a prayer. That's okay with you all?
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay. God, put me in the places you want me to be, with the people you want me to be with, doing the things you want me to do. Thank you for the joys and challenges of my life. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's let him show up first. I'm Rebecca, and my spring date's October 25th, 2009, and 15 years of recovery.
Yeah.
And I'm on my third relapse, and I didn't get sober the first couple of times around. I had to go to jail a few more times.
Samesies.
Yeah, exactly. And the last time I went to jail, there was some girl coming off of something I hadn't done yet, and I was a little high on mushrooms and having a bad trip, and just looking at her going, what am I doing here? While she's throwing up and having diarrhea in front of everybody. She had no privacy, and all of a sudden I was realizing, like, I'm here in jail again, And then I had some realization, if I could thank that woman today, she'd probably saved my life, because that's like, it was the turning point. Yeah.
So I feel like we kind of buried the lead there, right? So like, what is it like being in jail, tripping on mushrooms? Like, it sounds like it could be really cool or it could be really terrible.
Oh, it was a really bad trip. It was really bad. I cried from the time the officer put me in the back of the car, because I tried to pull in my neighborhood, and I didn't stop at the stop sign, and he's still going, and I see him do this with my lights in his eyes, and then he just turns around and follows me, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then, I kind of drive off the side of the road and think I'm going to get out of the car and run to my house or something. Yeah, and that didn't happen. And so, he followed me, and I went to jail, and I cried, because I actually used to wait on a bunch of cops at this place called To Come Back In many, many years ago. And they said the most annoying thing is when they lock up people and they start crying, and women. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make you have a bad day too. So I'm like, bawling, oh yeah. And that just proceeded into a really bad, it was really bad when I went to jail. It was awful. It was awful.
The things we do.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, I had, got 9 months of, DUI school. I was supposed to get 12. But I was speaking the language this time, and I was going to meetings, and I would only go to speaker meetings because I'm not going to talk to anybody, because I'm not one of you people. I was so mad. And I thought, I just got to hurry and get stuff done so I can get back to doing what I like to do. And that's not really what happened. What happened was alcoholism, and I'll never forget this little girl. She's telling her story. She'd been up for 3 days. And she's like, I don't have anything to drink and no cigarettes. And I'm kidding, hold my hair dryer up to dry my hair. And I was like, well, that's happened to me like a couple of times. And I was like, oh no.
Maybe I am in the right place.
And that was another eye opener. I was like, oh gosh, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. And and so the lady signed me out of these 2 little classes I was taking a week that were they were $25 or $30 a pop, to pay for your own drug school, which was kind of the pits, but I did learn a lot there. And I, watched a lot of people come in there high and nodding off, and I wasn't having that kind of experience because it hadn't really presented itself. I was always trading pills, like I didn't like downers, for uppers, cocaine or whatever I could find, because I really ultimately just wanted to drink more, because that's my jam.
And this was your last run?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Tony?
I've never had no fun in jail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who mentioned fun and jail do not go together. So
No.
I never had no fun. And I started going a lot more right before I got sober. It progressed probably about once a month. So, but I've been sober since July 19th of 2006. Uh, a lot of years, you know. I didn't get sober till I was 40. Just turned 59. So a lot of years of just a lot of drinking and a lot of drugging and a lot of pain and a lot of, hurting people that love me. That's the main people I hurt was the people that that loved me and the people that I loved. But I I had that moment back in 2006. I was homeless, and I had that moment that we talk about. That that what do they call it? What do they call it? When you had that,
Incomprehensible demoralization.
yeah, the moment of clarity. Yeah, I had the moment of clarity. So, and my mother drove me over to 10th and Market, downtown Louisville, and that's where my journey began. So, thank God for it.
Tell them about when you pulled up. I like that story.
Oh yeah, when I pulled up, it's fight or flight. You know that term.
Mm-hmm.
So when I pulled up, and a lot of people, if they don't know about the Hillen place, at any given time, there's 150 to 200 men that live in the Hillen place. It's a homeless shelter with a program for recovery, or with a recovery program. And when Mom pulled up, they were on their smoke break. So there's probably 100 plus guys in the courtyard. And I thought, oh my God.
Sure.
Mom, give me some money. I'll see you later. But I got out, and there was 3 guys over on the sidewalk, and they seen me. And I remember one of them. His name was actually Guy, and he ended up dying from this disease 2 years sober. But they come over and put their arms around me, walked me into detox. So, to me, they were like 3 angels, right? I don't mean to get all dopey on you, but they were like 3 angels. Uh, Saved my life. And that's where my journey began. So, and they told me, get a sponsor, get a home group, do the steps, go to meetings, stay plugged in, and, eventually sponsor people. And that's what I've done for the last 18 plus years. So I got a birthday coming up one day at a time, but I feel pretty good about my chances making it unless something, unless God intervenes. But, this is the only life I know now as far as when it comes to my mental health and my alcoholism. This is the only life I know. So.
I think it's really interesting how we never know who we're going to help or who God's going to use to help us, right? Because when you pull up in a place like that, you're like, these people aren't going to help me. They look hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't want nothing to do with me. They're probably going to try and steal something from me, whatever the case may be, right? But we never know who's going to, and that made me think of how we got to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a treatment center, and Tony's coming in there carrying the message. And now 4+ years later, it's hard to believe that was over 4 years ago, but over 4 years later, we've got a relationship now. And if you would have told me that day, hey, you're going to have a relationship with this guy, we're like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know this guy, like I'll probably never see him again once I leave here, but it's kind of funny how things like that work.
Yeah. I think that's when me and you were taking it in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was before COVID, right? Or was it right around COVID?
It was around it, yeah.
Because
after like the first wave of it.
All right.
Yeah.
One time we went in there and we took all 3 sons with us.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was there.
You were there for that? That was
Sure
awesome, wasn't it?
Sure was, yeah.
I was like, it just, I was so proud that day.
Mm-hmm.
We were all sober right now. It's so cool.
And you had said something about the Hillen place, and, it's free. It's free.
Right.
It's a lot of the guys call it the last house on the block,
Mm-hmm.
and it certainly was for me. I didn't have a pot to piss in, I literally went in there with everything I owned in a Kroger bag. So, and, you know, like I said, it's a homeless shelter first that offers a recovery program. So we have a lot of guys who are homeless that stay there and then they leave during the day and they come back, check back in it. They're not interested in the recovery aspect of it. But since its priority is homeless shelter, they still, house those guys at night.
So what does the program there look like? Like I know it's long term, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you were there
yeah.
for a while, right?
Yeah. Now they've sped it up a little bit because the DOJ's got involved with it, and they get a lot more guys out of prison. But when I was there, it was you was 4 months in OTS, which stands for off the street. Then you went into phase. That's when you start working the steps, and then you went into phase 2 when you was at the end of the steps, and then of course you silver chipped, which was you moved on, and then you could live on property and work. So it's back then. It took me about 9 months to get through the program. Then I ended up staying there and living 13 more months before they kicked me out. They told me it wasn't a retirement.
Stay in a hotel.
Yeah,
Stay in a
you
hotel.
gotta go.
So what was that class that you always talked about that you really loved that they taught there?
Oh, it was
Recovery dynamics. Maybe.
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was recovery dynamics, but there was another one that I missed out on my whole life. My mom and dad tried to get me to do it, but it was just how to live. Almost like home ec.
Mhm.
There was a lady, Miss Carroll was her name, and she did this class, and it was after you silver chipped, but how to get a job.
Like basic life skills.
Yeah, life skills. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. Life skills.
Yeah.
And I never knew. And it is life skills and teaching us how to become independent because I never was, independent ever.
Don't you feel like that's like the core of my alcoholism is my codependency?
Yeah.
It really is. Like, I mean, it relates to that whole trying to find something out there to fill this God-sized hole we have, right? Like, that's my codependency,
Yeah.
For sure. But it took me, I don't think I really realized that till I started working in recovery. I learned quite a few things about that. Like, I shake my leg all the time while I was rocked back and forth. And then I heard someone teaching a class, and it was your body, you're naturally soothing your body. That's why you do that. And I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. I had no idea.
Makes sense.
There's so many different ways we self-soothe, like biting your nails.
Oh, yeah.
Cracking. I do that stuff all
I
the
do
time.
that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, for me, kind of backing up a little bit though, I just wanted to say like how it's crazy, like the people that come into our lives in recovery. So you starting with that prayer, I'd actually made a video the other day leading up to this, and when I was in treatment, that's where my relationship with you began.
Mhm.
And I specifically remember I hated your yoga groups.
Yeah.
And I hated them.
Yeah,
But
you did.
I would participate somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember us having a conversation, and I didn't really have any belief in like a higher power or anything at that time. And you gave me a copy of that prayer. You like printed it out and you gave it to me and just said, start with this. And then I, made that video the other day, and I didn't put your name out there because I didn't, want to tag your name to it. But now you started with that, and I was like, that's awesome. And I still do that to this day, 3.5 years later.
That's awesome.
So like, I met you there when I was in treatment, and then I didn't know already, but you already knew my wife from the rooms.
Yeah.
And then in turn, it led me to meeting Tony,
Uh-huh.
and Tony's now my sponsor.
And then we found out we lived right down the street.
And then
from
we
each other.
lived, 2 streets over. And, the 3 of you guys in this room have remained a constant for me in my recovery. So I'm like thrilled, tickled to have you guys here. It's awesome. I love it.
I was telling Becky the other day, I said, we never did hang out with Evan and Kelly too much, but I'm still sad that they moved.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But we still talk
Yeah, yeah.
obviously multiple times a week.
Mhm.
So, something else though, you guys are married in long-term recovery together. My wife and I are both in recovery. What's that look like for you guys as far as your recovery goes? Being married, has it changed over the years from when you all first got together, both being sober, to where you're at now? Like, what's that look like?
Accountability.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a more adult version of accountability than it was when we first got married. I think
Mm-hmm.
we've grown and learned, or I have.
Well, neither one of us had ever had a healthy relationship before.
Right.
So where, I've only got like a year and 4 months sober. He's what, you had a couple years, right? So
Couple, 2 or
I
3.
have 15 and you're gonna have 19, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 16.
Yeah.
We're about 3 years apart. And so he knew more about, he was teaching me about the healing place and stuff. But even since the first day we met, I was walking my dog in the park. I was just like glued to him, and the dog chewed the whole leash off, and I didn't even notice. Like chewed it too, because I was so like
Enamored.
connected.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, enamored. Yeah, exactly. But anyways, we moved in real quick together, right? And yeah, he moved in about 6 months.
Because it would help us both save money, right?
That's right.
Is that why we did?
Yeah, no, remember we made a pros and
Stud.
cons? We made
Stud.
a pros and cons list, remember?
Yeah, there was all kinds of pros. She's
Uh-huh.
like, "Here's the pros." It was like this long. Here's the cons. It was.
And then we have our first argument. And, I was a little promiscuous, and there was a couple of fellas in the room that that he knew, and found out that that something had happened, and I don't even remember it, which is a whole nother thing. But that was our first argument. Was he was jealous, and I was like, this is my house, and I don't have to feel this, that's for sure. And I'm like, and we were going at it, and he left, and I was fuming, and so I'm having all these feelings that I've never had really sober, because my first marriage, I was saturated the entire time. And so I call my sponsor, and I'm like, telling her, I can't do this. He's jealous about this guy, and I don't want to do this, And she was like, well, isn't he in the program? And I said, yeah, he's in the program. And she said, why don't you all pray together? And I was like, what is it with you and this praying all the time? That's your answer to everything. And I'm like, because it is,
Yeah.
And that hadn't really sunk in yet. And so when he came back and the heat came off, she suggested that we pray together. She said, but, Rebecca, you need to don't say anything. You need to be quiet. Because I'm like, got to get the digs in, have last word or whatever, And so I took all of her suggestions, and I told him about it, and we did. And really, we were he was praying to who he prays in. I was praying to who I prayed to. And, but what happened was we just stopped, and we just were together, and we were just breathing. And we were one, and we've been that way ever since.
Yeah, we haven't stopped praying.
Yeah, like
I don't
anytime.
care who you pray to, but pray, because it always seems like it calms me down.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it does for a lot of people.
we get snarky, and nasty, and have the little run off every now and then. We haven't had a long time, now, did we?
No.
But in the beginning, we did, and every time we'd come back, it seemed like our character between us built. Our faith in each other built, like as the faith got higher than the fear, and the respect for one another, that was huge. And we started helping each other grow. So he had some child support issues and some tax things going on, and
I had a lot of debt. A lot.
And I'm trying not to lose my house, because I was making house payments with my credit card so I could keep all my cash for cocaine. So I'm, and I'm a year and
The veteran move.
right? Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So I thought, if he moves in, I'll just get my house. I'll get back, because I would already kind of dug my way out, but I wasn't quite there yet. And that was going to make it really helpful, So that's what happened.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, we did.
and he got out all this debt that he had
Yeah.
going on. And,
I had serious debt collectors, child support and IRS. They don't forgive.
He was scared to go to the IRS. And I was like, well, they got this amnesty thing going on. They're going to forgive your interest. Just,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? Bite you? I mean, just go down there. Then, of course, while we went down there, he's always packing a knife. And we had to hide it in a pot outside so he could go in. Because they have like metal detectors and
Yeah,
stuff in there.
I got this really old school accountant. I mean, this guy was about a week from retiring, and
He were the advisor.
Yeah, you know, got to be totally honest with me. Tell me everything. We're gonna write it down. I'm gonna charge you $500 for every year.
so now what was it, $100 for every year? So I ended up paying him. It was like 7 years of I didn't file taxes. So, but I didn't do none of that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was several years sober, and I was still. I didn't want to pay my debt. I wanted to keep my money. Because I had money where I wasn't spending it on alcohol and drugs. So I had money, but I wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
And my buddies kept telling me, man, you need, IRS don't play. And then, once I started getting some things, I started thinking. And then when I met her, and I was like, I was really falling for her fast, and I didn't, I wanted to work out, and I called my sponsor, and I was like, should I tell her? I think she's going to tell me to hit the road. And my sponsor at the time was a guy named Nate, a young guy, and he told me, he said, no, man, you need to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
You need to tell her. So I told her, and it didn't go nothing like I had thought it would.
The truth shall set you free.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. So, like, I've heard the story, right, that you've had, all this debt, but real freedom, right? How free did you feel after you were able to pay that off and be done with it and not have that monkey on your back?
It was, it was really, it hit me pretty good because I thought, man, I worked to do this. I worked hard on this.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, I developed a friendship with my ex-wife, which it was a real bitter divorce, and we're really good friends now. Her and Becky are good friends, and actually, I owed about $3,000 left, and she called me one day. She says, "I'm ready for this to be done," and because I'd been given IRS and child support my tax returns for several years.
Yeah, when you filed all
So it was good to get those tax returns too.
Right. Yeah.
But I can't express enough. It's like, man, it's funny how things change whenever things just get better when you get sober.
Mhm.
And if you apply the principles in your life, not perfect, like we were
Right.
talking yesterday, practice
Yeah.
these principles in all our affairs.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly practice. We'll never, lick it, but we'll get better.
Try.
Yeah.
Put forth
So-
some effort. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just,
Just do the next right thing. I mean, it's just that simple.
sobriety has been really, really, really good to me and my family.
Mhm.
So,
It's been my experience, so we're kind of talking about making amends, right? So you're making these financial amends, and in the process of doing that, you were able to repair a previous relationship.
mhm, mhm.
And we go into that process a lot of the time scared to death, or thinking we know how it's going to go.
Oh yeah.
And then God's got some other plan.
Mhm.
And because that's happened to me before, where I've made amends and the relationship just magically, like years of hate and resentment, turns into forgiveness and an actual relationship,
Yeah.
like when we do those things, like it really, something happens inside us. Like it's not only about us, like it helps them heal too.
Don't
You
you think that when you have an opportunity to forgive yourself before you start the journey? Because I think I had to get rid of this gnawing anger I had, you
Mhm.
know, in order to even get humble enough to tell anybody I'm sorry and mean it, you know,
Yeah.
mean it. So I had to, you know, forgive myself because, you know, I know I see people like that all the time that they leave and they relapse and they come back and they got this hammer and they're just beating themselves up. And I'm like, you're the only person doing it. You know,
Yeah.
none of us are doing that. Put it down, you know, relax.
Hence to why, the program that we're members of is laid out the way it is,
Mhm.
step by step. Um, so as far as the relationship now, as far as it comes to like meetings and stuff,
Mhm.
I know you guys do go to a lot of meetings together and you all do a lot of stuff together. Do you think that's even strengthens your all's relationship that you all get to do all of that together? Or do you also think it's important to kind of do your own thing as well?
Both.
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 You gotta
Yeah.
have both. You have to have your separate support group,
Yeah.
where you can just talk about the things that he doesn't care about. You know what I mean?
The
Yeah,
women's
you gotta have
stuff.
your own.
Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah. And that's another thing that has changed. We used to speak all the time. We lived in Louisville, and neither one of us. We were both sponsoring people every now and then, but they never stuck around, right? It was
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
then we moved to Shepherdsville, and I didn't like the meetings out here, so I got with Lindsay, and we started Courage to Change, and then all of a sudden I started meeting all these women, and the next thing you know, shoot, I'm sponsoring 5 or 6 women right now, and they're all sponsoring people. There's about 15 of us right now that are. We have a 4G thread, so every morning you get on there and you say the 4Gs. So it's one good thing you're going to do for somebody else. You can always tell who's new because they always say the good things that are happening to themselves until they figure it out.
Yeah.
And then there's what's your glitch? Like, what are you working on? Mine's always acceptance of other people's behavior, but what is it that you're trying to work on? And then your goal for the day was just like doing the laundry, just something that you're making yourself accountable to do. And then some gratitude, like what are you grateful for? Because a grateful addict's not going to use, so, and it works really good. And then you can see who's suffering and you can, call off on the side or text on the side conversations, and be connected together. And it's really, really powerful. And, all the girls, when they're feeling low, they're just like, I don't know what I'd do without this thread. It's just a simple little conversation that happens every day,
Did you get that from a book or something?
I was invited to one on Facebook, by it was a popular singer in Louisville, and it went flat for some reason. I don't know if she relapsed or what
So
happened.
she
She had a
started the
glitch.
4G.
Yeah, and
She had a
then
glitch.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what happened. And it came upon me one day to do that. I was like, this is a way I can talk to my sponsees because I had one in Louisville. Well, I had 2 in Louisville that I couldn't really see all the time, and so, but I talked to them on the phone quite a bit. I really talk to them more than I do the people I see in being in Bullitt County. So, yeah, I don't know, but that has all grown and changed too. Our recovery has really blossomed, like you all. I mean, the people that we have and I got a lot of friends in Louisville too that I don't really see anymore. But I'm where I'm supposed to be, I guess. Yeah.
I've got a lot of Bullitt County friends too.
I'm great. It made me feel grounded really quick, really fast when that meeting took off. I mean, the first meeting we had was 25 people.
Yeah.
That need was real.
Mm-hmm.
And we were grateful for the Crossroads Church, and then we ended up going to St. Francis. So, and then we found out they have a picnic there, and they don't have booze, and I was like,
Yeah,
what?
they're the Catholics that don't drink.
Yeah, and
Wow.
we never have made it to the festival. I keep saying I'm going to go, and we never have been. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So you mentioned sponsorship,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we all sponsor people.
Yeah.
You know, I've never sponsored a woman.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm curious, like, what's that like? Like, is it the same, or do they get hung up in this? Like, what are the barriers in sponsoring women for you? Like, what are there any common threads that you see?
Yeah. So in the beginning, women are loud and impulsive and not neurotic, but impulsive and angry and just a lot of powerful negative energy going on. And that's got to change. It's got to move. And if you're stuck and you're just sitting on a pity pot and poor me, and nothing's ever going to change. You have to provide some goals for yourself to change. Because if you don't, I mean, you're just stuck in it and you're sitting in it and you make your place small. Like when I was using, I just went to work, came home, and had the dope man come to my house. Like I didn't really go anywhere or hang out with anybody, even though I had a lot of friends. In the end, I was just hostage to
You
it.
had the DoorDash dope man.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. But now, when I had, like, up into our house, like, we got this great big circle and a campfire, and the girls come over and we read together the book. And a lot of my girlfriends out here in Bullitt County, they've only done the big book. They don't know anything about the 12 and 12. And I'm like, oh, this is great, And so we get into it and we start reading it. And Allie, oh my gosh, like 4 or 5 times she's just like, wow, that like stuff was landing with her, and it just makes you feel up some kind of way, And it's been a really powerful experience.
Yeah. I like when the ladies come over because when I get home and they're getting ready to leave, I like what I have to deal with. She's she's on fire and she's just in a good spot. And not to say she ain't all the time, but she's extraordinary, And so yeah, it's good. It's good. Kind of like when the guys come over.
Yeah, exactly. So like last night,
Yeah, we let her sit in, didn't we, Brian?
Yeah, and there was hardly anybody there. It was very intimate, and it was just what I needed. And I appreciate y'all letting me join in, And I bragged about it on the 4Gs the next day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I sure did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Joe today.
Uh-huh.
He was like, dude, that meeting was awesome last night. I was like, dude, it was. I was like, I texted you I was on my way home. I was like, good stuff tonight, man. Like it was just
I needed
real.
I really did.
It was just everybody was on point last night.
Mhm.
It was really good. I was happy to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And you leave with the cup filled up.
Mm-hmm.
I unfortunately wasn't there last night.
Loser.
But no, that's how I feel every time we get together with our men's group. Every time I leave, it's like, man, that was great. I personally feel I enjoy that more than even going into. And I love going to meetings as well, but when that more intimate setting with just our group of men, and we can talk about some real shit and get personal and feedback from each other. There's just something about that group, right? That really does something to you. So
yeah, when you can see yourself in others and go, that spot it, you got it. I hate that. All these dumb terms we have in AA, but they're really powerful. And spot it, you got was my first one to hate. I mean, I hate it. And what I've realized is when I see it in you, then I'm doing it. It's front and center, and I'm doing it someplace else in my life to somebody else. That's why I can recognize it in you so well. And when I realized that, I was like, oh, I don't want to know this stuff because I want to keep some of my behaviors.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, so I don't like change.
Yeah.
But when I get together with you all, then I realize I gotta stop doing that. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, so like when we watch this podcast, I'm going to be, damn, that's what I really look like?
Is that what I sound like?
I'm bobbing my head.
The first one that we did, or not even the first episode, we're practicing. I was like, man, I hate how I sound. I hate how I look on the camera. Like, I was just so worried about it. And then I was like, that night I was going to bed and I was thinking, I was like, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm being self-centered right now. Like, this is a defect coming out that I'm so
Mhm.
worried about what everybody else is going to think
Mhm.
instead of just being me,
Yeah.
you know? So I've kind of gotten used to how terrible I sound.
Well, I think you sound like mono or something because you're missing part of the sound when you hear
Yeah.
it from here
Mm-hmm.
and hearing it from
Sound like
there.
you're from Kentucky.
When I
What
hear
it
Right,
is.
yeah.
when I hear it from here, I'm like, man, the redneck is really wrong. You know, so
The force is strong in this one. Yeah.
so how I know when I asked Tony to sponsor me, I was going through something, you know, at that time, and you know, we didn't waste any time when I asked you to sponsor me. So I just kind of want your all's opinion as far as that was like the first real I've been to the way when you first started sponsoring me, we immediately went into the steps, but we didn't do it one on one. It wasn't my first time
Yeah.
through the steps, but we immediately went into a group, like a step study together. What's your all's opinion on that? Because that was the first one that I'd been to step meetings and step groups, but that was honestly the first time I had ever went through all 12 steps with a group
Mm-hmm.
of men.
I loved it.
And I was like,
Mhm.
felt even more vulnerable because I'm not just telling one person my shit. Now I'm
Right.
telling the other 7 of us that were there. You
Uh-huh.
know, what's your all's take on that? Does that feel?
This is what I love about when we get together as groups, and why people always say AA is the cheapest therapy you'll ever get, is that we practice vulnerability and we're starting to trust, and that's really hard for us. And also, there's a learning how to ask for help, you know, where I could never do that before. You know, your pride and your ego have got to get right sized so you can do these things. And I had a little book study during COVID online with my sister and my sister-in-law, and then a bunch of people in AA, right? And it was all women, and it was a little healthy book thing we were going to do. And so I mailed all the books out to everybody, and they came on, and we were going to do this like 10-week thing and, you know, get healthy together. And so my sister and my sister-in-law were like, ooh, I can't, because in the very beginning, everybody's just chatting it up, what's going on, da 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 da. And, you know, AA people will tell you their life story or very, you know, share just really candidly about very
Mhm.
personal things. And they were like, I just can't be a part of that. Like, they were so intimidated. They quit the group. And I thought, how powerful is it to be able to tell on the stuff that haunts me? You know?
Absolutely.
You know, I think that the more people, so I was in that group, you know, we did that. I think that the more people that know about me, the healthier I
Right?
get,
Yeah.
right? Because it's one thing if my sponsor knows all the deep, dark secrets, but if Tony knows them, if Evan knows them, if the guys I sponsor know them, then I can grow, right? Because more people know those things about me and I'm not keeping any secrets. You know, and that's also more people that can check me
Yeah.
on my behaviors,
Right.
Yeah.
you
Because
know,
they'll
and
see it
hold me
before you do.
accountable. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And dude, I loved that group. Like, we took a deep dive into that, and even outside of the group, because we had homework, you know, and it's like, I'm not just working on my spirituality that one night a week that we're meeting. You know, I'm working on it during the week because I got to make sure I'm doing my reading, I'm answering all the questions, and I'm trying to, you know, dive deep into stuff. And it really leveled up my recovery, you know. So thanks for starting that,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So what, kind of going back a little bit, right? Like, why did you start that group?
Well, because I needed it.
Yeah, you
You
were
know.
in a funk, weren't you?
Well, I don't really remember if I was or not. I probably was though. I mean, and I just thought it'd be another way to get a meeting in and you know, get a bunch of us together. And I started it because it just felt right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like, I'm ready to go through them again, really. Maybe when it cools down, we go back outside. But
Yeah.
I think a step study once a year with your friends is good. I mean, only time I wouldn't suggest it, maybe if it's the first time you're doing the steps, you know.
Mhm.
But if
Yeah.
you've been through the steps,
Yeah, so
I
you
think
can make
it's,
a
yeah.
connection with your sponsor.
But, yeah, that's a good question that I don't know if I can really answer. I'm sure there was something going on that I needed to address. And it was a natural thing, you know.
Mhm.
I just thought I'm going to get this together. And my buddy Chris, he had the step study that I did. And when I did it with him a few years ago, a bunch of guys. And I still had that. And she made me some copies. And come to find out, I think a lot of people do that particular step study.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've done it.
I thought I had, you know, the
The
cheat code?
treasures.
you know, I thought I had what's that
Yeah,
thing?
the teacher's
Yeah.
edition.
Yeah, yeah, I had the special step study, but I didn't. But anyways,
It was special. I
it
mean,
was
I
a good
think-
one. It's
we all-
thorough. That's what I
Yeah.
liked about it. It's really thorough.
Yeah, I feel like everybody that was involved in that learned a lot, not just about the steps, but about each other,
Yeah,
you know. So, I mean, I think that was really cool. Like, one thing that I picked up on, and I wasn't out of that step study, but so we evolved from once we finished that, we just kept meeting
Yeah,
at your
yeah.
house.
and
you
that was
know.
a group conscious. You
Yeah,
know, we
just start get together and we just kind of freestyle it.
yeah,
You know.
Don't you think it's funny? Our realtor named it Camp Serenity.
yeah.
Oh,
And
really?
our nephew made us that sign when you come in.
Okay.
And then the realtor gave us the other one that's on the house. We didn't name it. Our friends did.
yeah.
Our family did.
Camp Serenity.
And
yeah.
it's what it is.
And you know, another reason going back that I also did that step study, you know, I had a motive, and the motive was that we could continue that group, I guess. It's a good motive, right? But I seen how happy her and the girls were when I'd come home. Because I wouldn't come home till after they were done. She said, like, make sure you get there at 8. You know, so they'll go. And
So they'll get out of here.
sorry, girls. But yeah, I seen like how happy and excited they were, and I was like, I want that, you know.
Mhm.
I want some of that, you know.
Because somebody always gets something.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
see the light come on, you're like, yeah.
Mhm.
I was a little, what do you say, jelly? I was a little jelly.
You know, but something that I picked up, you know, and it was long after that, but it was over at your house. We were talking one day, you know, I forget exactly what we were talking about, but we were talking about attitudes.
Oh,
And-
yeah, yeah.
And, you know, you gave me the best definition of attitude that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I use it every time I hear the word attitude, I change in my mind what it means.
Yeah.
And you talked about angle of approach.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I started looking at attitude as my angle of approach, it really changed how I perceive things.
Yeah.
You know, so when I'm thinking, like, because we always think, like, I can have a good attitude or I can have a bad attitude.
Mhm.
But if I'm looking at it from, I need to change my angle of approach, then that changes everything. Right, because not only does it change my attitude and my emotion about something, but it changes what I do about it.
Right,
Right,
right.
because you said it earlier, Rebecca, that if nothing changes, nothing changes. We
Yeah.
got to get off our ass and do something.
Mhm.
So when I change my angle of approach, like
Yeah.
I can keep driving down the same street, but if it never takes me where I'm going, I need to change my angle of approach.
Right.
Right, I need to go a different route. Right.
Yep.
So that kind of shifted for me because, you know, in sobriety, there's a lot of times where I've been stuck, you know, where I'll get these places to where I'm like, man, I'm just spiritually just struggling today or this week or whatever. And that pops in my head.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
yeah.
like, I need to change my approach. I need to change what I'm doing because obviously what I'm doing isn't working, you know, and
Yeah.
it's usually because I stopped doing some of the things that were working.
And you know, just think about it. If everybody, not even recovery related, changed their angle of approach, there'd be less TikTok videos,
Mhm.
don't you think? You know?
Yeah. Oh,
But-
yeah. The cringy one.
Yeah, cringy. I heard that term. I didn't make that up. I heard that, I think, from a guy named Dennis Prager who does a talk show during the day, and he wasn't even talking about recovery.
Right.
You know, it was about You know, he's big on, you have an obligation to be a good human being.
Mhm.
If you can't go out in public and be a good human being, then you just need to stay home. You've got an, I don't care how bad things are going, you've got an obligation to be a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he was talking about all that angle of approach. And I was like, man, there's some good stuff there.
That hit me, man. When
Yeah.
you said that, like,
It hit me
I
when
was
I
like,
first
damn.
started.
I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
hit hard with me. I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
like I really picked up on that, like, and I've been using it ever since. You know, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it helped me a lot.
It's an action word.
Absolutely.
Definitely. You know, so, yeah. Change my angle of approach. Right, baby?
That's right.
Yeah, something's not working. We got to change up how we do things.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so it's kind of, you can tie that back into when we first get sober. You know, is your way working?
Mhm.
How's this working for you? You know, if it's not,
Exactly.
okay, time to change your angle of approach. Then
Yeah.
we got to
Yeah.
do something different.
Yeah, and I always tell people, especially if they relapse, you know, like how many meetings you go to? You need to go to at least 6 different ones, not the same one, you know? And you need to go shopping for your sponsor. Like, find somebody who's really got what you want. Like, go to speaker meetings, just listen to people,
Mhm.
you know? Because that's how it works. If you're, you know, if you're finding somebody you know that you can take one over on, then, you know, you're not going to get what you need.
Some people spend more time shopping for a damn microwave than they do for a
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just
Yeah.
don't know which one I want to buy. 6 months later, did you get that microwave? Not yet. You know, but then some people, so there's, you know, opposite ends of the spectrum with that, right? It's like opinions go to extremes on it. Like some people just, the first person they see, they're like, hey, will you sponsor me? Or it's the opposite end to where it's like, I got to find the perfect person.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it's like they're
But
taking
you
applications.
need good sponsorship. You gotta
Absolutely.
have good sponsorship. And you know, to be a sponsor, you have to want to be inconvenienced. I have to want to be inconvenienced. And you know, it's not my first instinct to go, yeah, let's go drop a fifth with 2 or 3 people on Saturday. Yeah, that's what I want to do. No, you know, but I do it, and then I'm like, oh my God, what? Why did I not want to do that? Because it just lifted me up. You know, like, God, life really sucked, and then I heard all that, and I'm like, you know what, I'm doing all right. You know, it really could just be really bad.
We actually talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
We were talking about how that's our first instinct usually is like,
Yeah.
No. You know,
No.
but we say yes anyways.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because then you miss the magic, you know, and a lot of people leave before the magic happens. I know people that have been sober 16 years and never sponsored anybody, and I'm just like,
That's a
what are
shame.
you doing being so stingy with your sobriety?
Mhm.
And every time in this meeting that saved my life, Roadrunner, and I would always challenge them. I'm like, I'm challenging you to put your hand out to the newcomer, because there's a lot of people in there with a lot of recovery that I noticed didn't really sponsor anybody. Like, they always came in by themselves, you know?
Well, that's our primary purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So I was always challenged.
So that comes back, and we've talked about this on here before too. That comes back to the root of our troubles: selfishness and self-centeredness. Right? I want to keep it all to myself. You know, I don't want to give it away. You know, I want to keep it. You know, and it's in the giving that we get to receive.
Yeah.
So the way that I get to keep it is by giving it away.
Yeah.
So
I even had a talk with one of my sponsees the other day. I said, you know, you live right down the street from me, and I hardly ever talk to you. Why do we not talk on the phone? Well, I just don't want to call you unless, you know, my ass is on fire and I'm just well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, we're neighbors. No. Like, we should be talking all the time. Like, you know, I don't understand that. And just that small, and I was like, I need you. I need you to call me. I need to be needed. You know? It gives me some purpose, and it gets me out of my head about things that are going on that are out of my control, and that's why I called her in the first place. And I told her that. I said, I had to call you because I'm on my way to work, and I passed by your house, and I thought, I'm going to call her right now, and gave me an opportunity to quit because I was building up some story of delusional land before I got there, you know, and she made it all go away, even though she probably didn't know she was doing that, you know?
Yeah, we've spoke about this, and, you know, for me, I've experienced being sober before, and then I quit doing everything that kept me sober. I quit working with other men. I quit calling my sponsor. I quit going to meetings. I quit doing all these things. And every time I relapsed and I went back out. So this time, like, I would say, 90% of the time when I call you, it's just to shoot the shit. It's not,
Yeah.
my ass ain't on fire, but,
Mhm.
I know what I need to do to stay on this path, so I'm going to stay plugged in because I've proven it to myself so many times that I can't do this without you guys. I can't do this without giving it back to someone else,
Mhm.
and one of my sponsees, which you guys know him, Evan, he
Yeah. I
he
was
just
thinking
moved to
about him.
Florida,
Yeah.
right? So I called him when I was on my way here. I'd been probably 3 or 4 days since I've heard from him, so I called him just to check in. And he's been going to so many meetings
Oh, good.
in Florida, so many
Wonderful.
meetings. And every time we talk, I'm like, "Have you found a new sponsor yet? Have you found a new sponsor?" Like, I'm always here, but I'm in Kentucky. You can always call, but I'm here. And then tonight, he found a new sponsor, and he told him some stuff to do right off the bat, and I was just like, man, that's what he needed. And the stuff the guy told him to do, I was like, okay. Like, and this is even stuff that I didn't tell him to do in the beginning, so I'm like,
Nice.
now he's gonna keep growing. And I'm like, that's what this is about,
Nice.
So, and he's 2.5 years sober now, so
Did you get to see him when you were down there on vacation?
So we didn't get to meet up, just the chaos of the 20 member family vacation. And it just didn't allow me to take the, a couple hour trip to go meet him, but I wish I would have. But
Well, as
he's
much
doing
as
really
Jimmy
good.
goes down there, he could probably hook up with
Jimmy
him.
can like sponsor.
Jimmy's
Yeah.
going down there.
That's right.
So I believe that we're all put here to do something great with our life, whether it's big or small, but a lot of times when we do when we're doing something, we don't know if it's big or small, right? Because there's this ripple effect of things that happen. And you said something a second ago that you need to feel needed, right? And you helped me so much one day, and I don't even, and I've talked about this in a meeting, so you probably know what I'm talking about, but I don't even know if you knew what you were doing in the moment, or even if you remember it, right? But it was so profound. It helped me so much because I was a member of your home group. My work schedule changed, so I had to stop coming. My work schedule changed again, and I was able to go back. And you said, "Oh, your schedule changed. Are you going to come back to the group?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be able to come back." And you said, "Good, because we need you."
Yeah.
And I'm used to people saying, "We need you to go away.
Yeah.
We need you to step out of the car, put your hands behind your back."
Right.
Like stuff like that, right? We need you to grow up.
Yeah.
We need you. When you told me that, it really resonated with me because now we always tell people to keep coming back, right? And we should tell them that. But we need you hits a lot different than keep coming back.
Yeah.
Right. And that was personal to me. And I was just like, wow, like somebody needs me. Like, because my whole life I'd felt I had no direction, like I had no purpose. I was useless.
And be alone in a room full of people that loved you.
And I just needed somebody, and for someone just to organically, not me asking for it, to say, we need you. And just in passing.
Sounds better than we need you to pay us our money.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, wow. Like it just, like I was standing, like I was standing taller that day, and I was just like, man, like that really helped me,
Thank you.
And so, and I thought it was funny that you said that because I was already thinking about it. I was like, how are we going to talk about this? And then you led me right to it, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little, this is kind of funny, but how this thing works. When, I went through a funk. It's been a few years back, and I just couldn't get out of my head, and this was before I sponsored you, a while back, and before me and you really even got to, I mean,
Right.
I just would see you at here and there at the meeting or whatever, and I was going through some stuff, and I don't even know if we had exchanged numbers then, but I'm at work, and of course she's like, "You're gonna be okay," and this was like a 4 or 5 day. You remember that?
Yeah, he goes in dark places.
And,
I have the guns.
and
Because it's gonna taste.
but I get this call, and I don't recognize the number. And, hey man, it's Brian. I knew she had,
Yeah.
I knew she
You
had.
called on Tony. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, man. But you know what? After I got off the phone, it was just like, that's what I need, man. Talking about needing stuff. That's
Yeah.
what I need.
Mhm.
Because,
And thanks for doing that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And,
I remember that day.
yeah. That was,
You kind of looked at me sideways, like, call Tony, just call him.
yeah, yeah. And I'm glad she did that, but I knew it, But, we all had those.
Mhm.
I think it's that a lot of it is me slacking off of my sobriety, off my program, and that guilt and shame that sometimes still comes up, and just those, it's progress. It's not
Mhm.
perfection, and it's but I know that next time I don't need her, even though I appreciate it. I need to be the one to reach out. And so that was one of the importances of bringing a bunch of guys together, having that group, because
Yeah, because I'm not your spiritual advisor.
over a period of time we can read each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know, I'm pretty good. It's like, man, something's going on with Evan, or something's going on with Keith or something like that. And so yeah, that was good that happened. I'm grateful for stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
That's-
For me, our relationships and the people that come into my life, like I can see today, especially like the way Brian came into my life, and then Becky comes into my life when I'm just a couple days sober, trying to get sober at the time, and she gave me something that has stuck with me this whole time, and then turned into me meeting you at our first men's group we ever had, and then that one kind of dissipated. And then when I asked you to sponsor, be my sponsor, and then it turned into this whole new group of guys. And and I know everybody. You all came into my life exactly when God
Mm-hmm.
wanted you all there and knew that I needed you guys. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
mean,
grateful for you.
yeah, you too, and I can sit here and know that we're gonna know each other for a really long time.
Now you guys have met my family.
Yeah.
Come help me paint my house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
True friends today.
yeah, I felt good about that, man.
Yeah.
I was fun.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
saw us. You saw Evan and I at some of our lowest points. We're in detox.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony
I
saw me in
remember thinking
treatment.
about
That's when
you.
I met Tony.
Yeah.
They said you worked at Ford, and I was like, oh my God, is he going back to work? Because I think to myself, you're not going to be successful. You
Yeah,
know?
I didn't. I didn't go back for very long.
Yeah. I
I
don't
was
know how you
like,
could.
so that's one really cool thing about sobriety is that we can get to a point, at least for me, right?
Mhm.
This is something that kind of clicked with me early on. It's like, I don't have to settle anymore,
Right.
because I went through my whole life doing what I thought everybody else wanted me to do. And I was like, I don't have to settle,
That's right.
because when I wanted to leave that job, the first thing that people said to me was, you're crazy. Like, that's a great job. And I was like, maybe for you,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to work. I was like, I
Yeah.
hate working there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's not good for me. It's not good for my family life. All it does, it's good for my bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But other than that, it's not good for me. And I gain the ability in sobriety to be able to see. That's part of being spiritually fit, right?
Mhm.
Is to be able to look at something and say, this is not good for me,
Yeah.
right? So I don't have to settle.
And the future possibility when you get
Yeah.
sober is endless.
Yeah, I think people what's the term?
So hopeful as opposed to hopeless.
Something favors the bold. Fortune favors the bold. Is that what it is? But anyway, like people, I don't know.
Sounds legit.
But you know, like the bold and the fortunate. You know, but when you start to take risk,
Mhm.
you know, that's when you start to reap benefits, and you put yourself out there.
You know,
know,
that,
like
don't you?
try to take a risk and try to do
Mhm.
something different, and like that's when you. And it's not just about like material stuff. It's
Mhm.
about like inner peace and serenity, like that's and freedom. Start to like I'm doing what I want to do.
Mhm.
As far as not as far as my sobriety. I don't mean like I'm working, I'm doing it my way. You know, I don't mean it like that, but I just mean like the possibilities.
Yeah.
You know, you actually achieve some things if you actually take a risk and put yourself out
Our
there.
relationship's like that because him and I are like that. I am a risk taker and he is not. And so, you know, we kind of balance each other. Like he pulls me down when I'm twirling up, like I have all these big grand ideas and he's like, no, you know, you need to calm down a little bit. And then when he is, you know, scared of trying or doing something different, like, I'm going to drag you there. And then he's like, I'm so glad we did this.
And you know why I'm 100% of the time that I don't want to do something? Because I'm scared I'm going to fail.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I love to fail. I'm
they,
like, it's always brighter on the other side of it.
you know, that was like fear. You know, I tell this story sometimes, but I forgot what her name was, this supermodel. And they asked her, the guy interviewed her, said, you must get asked out all the time. She goes, no, I really don't.
People too scared to talk
Guys are too scared, they're afraid they're going to get rejected.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And,
Huh.
you know, I thought, man, you know, that's,
Who knew?
you know, I totally understand that.
You know, it's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
You know, like we were scared
Very
to
well
death to
put.
do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Look
it's
how
like
much fun you're having.
and
Yeah.
finally we were just like, screw
Yeah.
it, man, let's just do it.
Just one day.
Yeah.
Let's just
We
do
got-
it. We just gotta get started.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look
Look
at-
at you now.
Yeah. Look at a
Looks
Joe
legit
Rogan.
to me, man.
Yeah.
Look at a Joe Rogan first.
And here's
episode,
sweating.
You know. Yeah. So,
In the sauna.
Awesome. Awesome.
I tell you what, speaking of, just jump off a little bit, but you need to listen to it. Joe Rogan, he interviewed Jeremy Renner.
Mhm.
It's great. You know, that guy got run over by a
Yeah.
snowmobile,
Yeah.
and that guy is on fire, man. Talking about a positive dude. I mean, I was fired up after listening to that podcast the other day, you know, while I'm at work. But so, yeah, it was a feel good.
You know, it's kind of when you hear things like that, you know, people getting through hard times, it really puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, man, my trivial chicken shit problems that
Yeah.
I'm like into the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
This guy got ran over by a fucking snowmobile.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You know,
Everything is fine.
and he's doing great.
Yeah. And he talks about how
Yeah.
he cold turkeyed off Oxycontin.
Whew.
He said, I didn't want to feel like that. You know, he goes, I didn't want to feel like that.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
But he did at first because he was
Right.
hanging on by a thread. But he said eventually he's like, no. And he cold turkey against the doctor's advice. So it's just something you might listen to. But
Thank you guys so much for doing this tonight. We've had a blast.
Yeah. It's been great.
You know, so good stuff.
yeah.
You know, appreciate having you guys over, and you guys are welcome at any time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
You know, absolutely.
We got to go to Starbucks at 9:30 at night. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
Did you take
partying
a
tonight.
pre-podcast nap? You get one of those
I
in?
tried, but somebody called me. That's all right.
He had his little 5-hour energy because when we had talked to you earlier, you were yawning. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Stop it!" I started yawning after I got off the phone with you.
But I've been looking forward to this, and
You
you
was
know, it's,
contagious.
I'm really proud of y'all. And
Oh,
We'll be
yeah.
glad to have
I'm,
you guys.
I'm
back on
available
anytime.
anytime. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
you
want
know,
to
if you
support.
need a fill in or whatever.
We appreciate it.
Cool.
Thank you guys.